Hey guys, welcome back. Valiant facing up against Seoul. Seoul's first match of the season. We're about to get it underway.
The Valiant, a surprising squad. A lot of people have them very low in the power rankings. They went a different approach in the offseason, brought in a lot of lesser-known players, but have so far exceeded a lot of expectations. And like I said, Seoul Dynasty, undefeated so far this season.
Just ridiculous. How'd you get a record so good?
That's crazy.
You haven't played yet, so like, that's how you get so good. But I'm excited to see new Seoul, and like you said, Valiant changing up a bit in the off-season, bringing in Gig, their main tank player, who's been really just showing some old horses new tricks, old dogs new tricks, is what I would say.
Horses as well. Yeah, horses.
I was thinking of Orisa.
Yeah, a complete kind of vamping of this roster, and it does seem like Dreamer and McGravy will be the starting tanks today. The support line has, I think, exceeded expectations. Lastro's come in and made a name for himself. Rain has been solid, and then every caster's favorite duo, KSP versus KSF. So fun to try to pronounce both of those DPS players in rapid fashion, but they're both playing really, really well.
Yeah, oh yeah. KSP was going to change his name at one point to Kai, which is just his name. Everybody was like, no, don't change it. And I think a lot of people, a lot of casters and whatnot were like, well, maybe if he does, like, we'll get less confused. I personally prefer KSP as a name, but his nutty Widowmaker, I'm excited to see that come into the fold. But Seoul now on your screens, like we said. First match of the series. A lot of Seoul fans out there got high hopes for this roster.
Yeah, and a lot of fans of just players who have now all of a sudden found themselves on the Seoul Dynasty roster. I'm a huge fan of Prophet. I don't know if you can be a fan of Overwatch without being a fan of Prophet. It's like being a football fan and not liking Jerry Rice. You're just wrong. But Gesture is on this squad now. Fitz had a decent season in Season 2. Badosh and Toby, Marvel, like, it's just rock solid all the way through. There's a lot of expectations for this team, for the Seoul Dynasty team. But you know what? There have been expectations for the Seoul Dynasty team since Game 1, Season 1. And it's kind of been a disappointing ride to be a Seoul fan.
Well, it's going to be a little bit more disappointing, especially for Gesture coming into this this match today. Unfortunately, the Winston is banned.
Yeah.
Oh, well, rotated out, unfortunately. Same as Soldier, of course. We're same hero pool as of the last match, funnily enough. But
and
I
Toby
really want to see... Yeah, exactly. I really want to see people like Toby on Lucio and people like Gesture on the Winston, but we're going to have to satisfy for whatever they bring out today. But it's probably going to be a little bit more Brig, a little bit more Ana, which is always exciting to see. Jaehong, unfortunately, not on the Seoul roster anymore. He's moved on to Titans, but there's still a lot of powerhouses in the lineup for Seoul. Toby and Padosin in the back line are going to be contending with Lastro and Rain, so it's really like the new versus the old guard.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to see, well, again, just before we started the first match, I'm like, I just want to see Tracer. But now I'm getting greedy, because now I just want to see Prophet on Tracer. Of course, he's got the highlight of the Season 1 Grand Finals, where he just goes absolutely off on Volskaya, on Tracer. So nice to see. And Prophet, I mean, anytime you talk about best player in Overwatch League, Prophet's name is always brought up, alongside of a Carpe and people like that.
A lot of old faces and old names on the Seoul squad, facing up against a rather fresh lineup in Valiant. Players that have been around a while, but not graced the Overwatch League. KSB and KSF teleporting Bastion out. I'd love to see it. I'd like to see McGravy actually on the D.Va. I definitely think it's one of his best heroes.
It is crazy to see all these the sim rollouts now that Lucio's not there. Like, and we've seen sim rollouts even when Lucio is there. You get the sim, like, you have your Tracer play the sim, you get out there, then you speed boost, and like getting the positioning on the mid fights actually just straight up wins you fights. So I think we're gonna see a lot of this teleporting and then switching kind of rollouts here. It seems like right away Seoul is splitting their attention on both sides. Interesting.
Does seem that way. We are seeing a little bit of dive that you wanted to see, Hex. Gesture and... Oh my goodness, that pull and nade. Well, bye-bye, Fitz. Seoul's first death of the season. Unavoidable.
Yeah, just kind of playing passive, just sitting in there. Like, the dive never came in, and now you've lost all the backup damage. Fitz is going to move over to the Doomfist instead. This one's not over because, well, Wrecking Ball's really annoying.
Yeah, I was about to say that. He's just doing just ungodlike things on the Wrecking Ball, or at least try to knock people off, but, you know, McGravy and the rest of the squad more than happy about that. It is a bunker down composition for the Valiant. As you can see them now rotating back up to the high ground. The problem is the rotations here. That's where Seoul are going to be able to catch the Valiant off. And people getting moved off the high ground too. There you go. Gesture being a menace, but he goes down low once again. The stuns, almost everything. Oh my goodness! Okay, I don't know, man. Let's just sit back and watch. This is it just got so bullied. Flashbang, didn't get a headshot, no, just got splattered against the wall. But this is going to kill off Rain. It's going to be a good start for Seoul as they do manage to find the recap.
Prophet just sent into the Shadow Realm. You just have to take a couple deep breaths and reestablish yourself there. Meanwhile, though, it is a Seoul team battling back. KSP gets dueled out, and Seoul with control of the point.
Beautiful stick. Oh, doesn't quite find it, but it doesn't matter because Seoul has control of the point still. And now they can set up. Now it's going to be infinitely harder for the Valiant squad to actually set up now. They have got a lot of ults to work with, of course, almost 6 lining on up. They could go for the big space jam here.
Yeah, like you said, it's more of a hunker-down, bunker-ish composition when you have the Orisa on the point as opposed to the dive tanks that Seoul is running. So really, it's all about getting in the correct positioning here for LA.
That's a beautiful pick to start off with KSF. Meteor strike coming out. There's the grab as well from McGravy. Couldn't quite find anybody. Oh, Fitz was launched up into the sky. Couldn't quite get down to the ground in time to land the people's elbow. KSF now dueling out onto the point. Earned himself a meteor strike of his own, straight on top of the brig, but the brig is rallied on. So it's going to go down rather fast. KSF getting out of there rather fast. Now you've got to see the rest of Valiant try and make their way onto the point, but you are still dealing with Prophet on the Tracer, as well as Fitz, who's made himself known in the front line as well. They still continue to hold, and with that 65% online, and almost every single ult expended for Valiant, they're now in a bad spot.
Yeah, a little bit frantic there as the end of the fight came in, but it's still just a brawl. This has not been a clean fight on either side. No one's really resetting.
Self-destruct launching the back line. That's where they're going down. No big reset here. That's what they need. Valiant just need to be able to reset and go again because they have got one more fight in them before Seoul take this map. And you've got to think at this point, Dreamer's going to have to switch off. He's just getting bullied. Hasn't had a chance to lay down the supercharger yet.
I know, but now it's all about like maybe trying to get the supercharger, maybe throw a Deadeye in there as well, just to get the positioning they need to be able to fight back onto the point. But I don't think they're going to get another ultimate out of McGravy here. 65 seems like a mile away from Zarya.
Someone had to touch. Look at that. Prophet instantly killing off KSF with the help of Fitz. Dream's going to be able to get back onto the point, but Supercharger has been used already. A lot of that damage went a little bit waylaid as the rest of Seoul Dynasty were able to LOS KSF from the higher road, or KSP, sorry. There you go, there's the first mistake of the season for me. KSP, yeah, we should actually. It's going to get a little bit insane. Graviton Surge coming out, there's KSP finds the head of Fitz. McGravy eventually getting an ult off, manages to corral the rest of Seoul Dynasty onto the point and into the grab, as they do end up capping McGravy. Gets nanoed at the very end to keep him alive and to deal out the additional damage that was required. And now they can set up on the high ground once again. But Dreamer had to switch over to the Wrecking Ball, so McGravy's going to be a little less protected on this Zarya.
Yeah, the Zarya ultimate was really the one that they needed, and I mentioned before the fight started at 65%, it was kind of a coin flip whether he was going to get there or not. The win condition for Valiant in that fight was to make the fight last long enough to let McGravy get up there. Also, he had 100 charge on the Zarya, and that's just going to erase people from the game. Still, though, have to be perfect, but now with Valiant nearing about 70%, we may be entering the final fight of this first stage.
We are, however, Seoul have taken position on point, almost capped it there. Gesture forcing everybody down onto the low ground. KSP'd with the high noon once again. Those mines are doing a fair bit of work, actually doing a whole bunch of damage. That beautiful bio grenade from Badosa, that was it, that's it. You just win the fight off of that. There was a 4-man bio nade in the back. Marvel and Jester jumped on the back line. That should be it. That is how you carry on support. Badosa putting on a showcase with the nades. And Village is going to get taken.
He hits that nade, and it's also a perfect follow-up from Gesture, timed perfectly. It's an enormous slam on him, and you just watch the health bars melt away all over on that one as the Tracer's just in for cleanup at that point. So a little different clash of styles here, but Seoul seemed to be very comfortable with this dive. It was a weird dive. It was like dive McCree, and McCree didn't last too long. I think the dive was to intentionally isolate a target and then let the McCree just go unfettered in the back and just pop away at people. But didn't work out. They ended up making some switches. And now we will move over to the Sanctum. You and I were discussing this earlier. And Mandata's gold has been
made up lore.
It's been entered into the lore, and I'm pretty sure it's just something ZP made up.
That wouldn't be
like
the first time.
4 years ago.
Well, that wouldn't be the first time, that's all I'm saying. He's just making up things, and now it's officially canon. Well, there you go.
That's how it
You heard it
goes.
here first. ZP, a new lore writer for the Overwatch League.
That's the power of casting, man. What you say just ends up being true.
Well, yeah. Just take what we say as gospel. Don't do that, actually, please. Dreamer ends up with... Yeah, it's dead wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. Fizz takes the kill. That's going to be a good start. And again, they are going for this more hunker-down composition. Double shield, exactly like we saw from Uprising in the match before. But you got to think now. Who's going to win out this one? Who's got the May and who doesn't? Seoul Dynasty with the May. As soon as they put themselves on the point against the double shield, it makes them just so hard to take down.
Yeah, and now Dreamer's already switched though too. He's on the Hammond.
It's keeping the rest of the team alive, but not for long. As KSF finds Toby, however, Fitz and Proper having a little bit of a field here. KSF earns himself a pulse bomb, but it doesn't matter whatsoever. Soul still getting a lot of time on point. That's what is going to matter at the end of the day. Still building up as the rest of Valiant are trying to finish off Seoul. They managed to get 25% is going to tick over now. Not too bad at all to start off with. KSP finishes off Fitz, and that will be Seoul going for the reset.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the composition right now for LA just seems a little discordant without having an anchor tank, but Dreamer did actually get a ton of work done there, put out so much damage and the mobility to help try to prevent these dives. When his team gets dove on, he's actually just jumping in to try to play defense with them as well. So Gestra stays on this Orisa, can be very good on this map, obviously halting people into the Abyss.
The Wolf and Prophet. Looks like they want to go down to the low ground. That's a beautiful kill actually onto KSF. I can imagine that was just a one-tick headshot. Prophet finds yet another kill. Flux used on point. Ball didn't stand a chance. Prophet with another. That's 3 kills for the May without using the Blizzard as well. And Seoul very, very quickly taking control of the game once again.
Yeah, able to just out-rotate there too. Then the Dragon is essentially just a corridor that safe passage to walk out of. They notice they're getting dropped on, so the Dragon comes through. Obviously doesn't do damage to your own team, so they just take the Dragon road on their way out to the point, get the last couple of kills that they need, and with no threat of a Tracer flanking because of a nice headshot from Prophet earlier, everyone's able to just back up and stay safe. And now this is exactly where you want to be with this composition. You've got 2 shields and you've got a wall.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, and he couldn't eat it. Oh, McGravy. He's going to feel that one tomorrow. Byronaded as well on top of the head. No way they can do that, but it doesn't look like Valiant are done just yet. They're going to rally into the front line as Marvel does end up going down. The Transcend issues also. Wall's going to block them off for the time being, but still, Prophet and the rest of the team are kiting all the way back. A nice bio grenade from Badosin to keep everybody alive and well. The Dragon Strike will end Toby's life, but Fitz pays it one back in kind as KSP ends up going down. Now they have to deal with the tanks on the point, but it shouldn't be too much of a worry as soon as they take out Prophet. Rain running him down. A nice little pulse bomb as well. We send the health bar of Marv 1 straight into the ult bank KSF, and that'll be the flip. But still, one more fight is all Seoul needs. 83% on the board.
Gesture with the loneliest supercharger ever to sit in the corner. No one gets anything done. I thought he might be switching after that based on using the ultimate as late as he did, but Gesture is an ambitious and aggressive player, so not a big surprise there. KSF's on the flank. He doesn't have Pulse Bomb, though. He's just looking for a lone Zenyatta and going to try to win that duel.
Trying. Oh, there he is. Oh, he knows. He knows. Badosin, Sixth Sense perking up. Are they going to let this go for free? They are again. Valiant, okay, they let that go away for free. And KSF, sorry, ends up going down. There's 2. McGravy also ends up falling. Once again, Valiant, it's almost like we're seeing Uprising again playing a little bit too passive. They're taking these points away for free. There's no contention whatsoever. You have got the May on the point, but you've got to get someone like a Tracer on. Yes, you're in danger of getting headshot, but you have to do something. As I say that, Seoul end up taking the victory on Sanctum as well, as Valiant just crumbled at the end.
It's my biggest pet peeve when I'm playing, when I'm watching, when I'm in. They're just giving up points for free. Unless you're really sacrificing a ton of positioning to get over to the point, then you have to have someone on there just to not let them just snag it for nothing there. There were some interesting, good plays out of the Valiant, but I really think, like, Badosin just constantly overlooked. I think he's been overlooked in the league since day one. I always have him in my top 3, top 5 support players, and you mentioned it several times. Hitting those nades in a game that's so dependent on healing and sustain, like, Badosin won them several fights alone on his Ana.
Oh, easily, yeah. Whether defensive or offense with an A's, Badosin's looking fire right now for Seoul's first match of the season. We're going to jump to a quick break, though. Do not go anywhere. Map number 2 coming up soon.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor.
And just like that, Seoul Dynasty find their first map win of the season. They must be feeling pretty good with themselves right now. Valiant, a little bit less so, I can imagine, giving up that last point and just kind of fading away into the sunset and saying goodbye, I think, was the memento of the last 50 seconds of that
Dorado
map. But we're moving on to Dorado now. New map,
like,
new set.
Valiant got out-compositioned there, especially on control. So they're running like a bunker composition, but then they're high ground. And what Seoul does, they just send someone to the point. It's like, okay, and now everyone gets off high ground, so what was the point of even being up on high ground? And then they kind of ran a weird tank mix on Sanctum. It didn't end up working out for them. A really early switch came out from Dreamer, who was on Orisa, died once, and then just ran ball the rest of the time. But that is in the past. Seoul Dynasty now lead the series 1-0 in their Overwatch League 2020 debut. Sounds weird, but it's the reality of the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, right now, yeah. There's obviously a few teams that haven't played, and it does feel a bit odd saying that as we are what feels like months into the season. Like you said, Dorado, second map of the series. My apologies. And yeah, let's talk about Seoul just a little bit, and what we talked about at the very start of the series, which was what are we going to see? And unfortunately, we can't see Toby or Lucio. Unfortunately, we can't see the Winston coming out from Gesture, but they seem to be on point right now with the dive like you wanted to see, which was Hammond mixed with a Diva. I mean, the Hammond just does so much work, especially on someone like Village, where you can knock people off the high ground. That's the potential. We could see it here too. You take control of the high ground, especially the first point on Dorado, it could be all over for the defense. If you are running more of a static comp,
I want to see what the compositions end up here. I think Gesture on Hammond is going to be a revelation for a lot of people. In my opinion, it plays similar-ish to Winston as far as timings go and when you should be going in, when you should be. Obviously, the abilities are different, and Hammond's unkillable, whereas Winston can die. But I think he's going to excel on that hero, and then I think the Hammond Diva dive is where it's at. Look at this. They're going to play it on defense. Defense, you would almost expect shields. Like, just anchor tank and let's put people back there, but I feel like this is the composition they've settled on and look comfortable in it.
3, 2, 1.
Such a good Widow map.
And especially with fits on the Widow. Normally you think you have to protect the Widow with some sort of shield or whatever, but if you have someone diving in the front line, especially if it's three dive heroes like the Tracer, like the Ball,
well,
like
I mean,
the Diva,
right now we've got KSP and KSF on the Widow and the Genji respectively. Now that can pressure out the opposing Widow, of course, right? And so Prophet's going to come in first and take down KSF, and now that's a big thing they don't have to worry about anymore. Gestures in the backline hits an enormous slam, and he's not going to try to stick around to get damage done. He's just going to bail out right away, just be annoying. A very aggressive first hold here. Dorado has been a map where a lot of teams will play very aggressively on this defense, because if you lose this fight right here, you can still end up playing Archway anyway. So it's just about an opportunity cost to play early on, to be annoying. Speaking of annoying, Prophet is just crushing. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of annoying, yeah, McGravy just gets taken out. Don't really a way you can protect yourself going around this corner. Prophet's on the high ground permanently. What do you have to really duel him? KSF on the Genji? Sure, but you have to look at Fitz. KSP literally needs to win the 1v1 Widow duel against Fitz right now in order for KSF to really do anything. KSP easily his best hero is the Widowmaker, but now he's switching over to the Tracer. Dreamer and McGravy are also switching up, but wholesale swap, what does that mean?
Well, for Seoul. Right now, though, KSP is in the back line on the other side. Nano Tracer, love to see it.
Oh, Nano. Oh, what? Straight into, yeah, that was a little bit too telegraphed. Prophet now having to recall out of there. Nano didn't really do all too much, but KSF still ends up going down. Gesture now with the mines available. Like I said before, you reset your ult bank, and what's the problem now? You have to build it back up again. You've already spent 2 minutes trying to do something, and Fitz just shooting people at the
doorman
spawn
to their own home and said nope, and right there they get knocked into the air, and Fitz just on the cleanup. Fitz has gone largely untouched this entire time. He's going to have the Infrasight whenever he wants it. There's no opposing Widow. Really, the only threats to him are the diving DPS. The tanks have not really tried to get on him yet.
Nanoblade coming up though. That's the one big tool they have to crack this defensive Seoul. Fitz getting jumped on, using the Church to grapple off, slide down the roof and make his way to safety. Those mites are coming out. A little bit of a weird placement. They're going to get taken out. And no, guess who's taken out as well? Well, KSF got body shot by Fitz a couple of times. That ends his life. And now they got Nanoblade. And KSP goes down to Hex. There's a minute and 30 left, mate.
Pilot this one for the moment. Fitz not going to be too hard because Fitz takes down Lastro early on, but Doshin's able to take down Rain on the other side of things. 10-player kill streak for Prophet, still holding on to that pulse bomb. Nanoblade still in the pocket of the Valiant, though. They're going to have to wait for this, get it done, and there's really no great defense against this. Maybe you can hit Rally, maybe try to get a stun, but if people are isolated the way Seoul is playing, then Nanoblade should find some good value. It seems like everybody else is just rotating around. You back with me, Jack? Did you get fixed?
Yes.
Cool.
I think so. I think we're good. We're
I
good.
hope so.
Valiant aren't looking too good. Nanoblade available. Pulse Bomb available. Prophet with his Pulse Bomb as well, but there's a lot of ults available for Dynasty to actually fight back from this one. They still have that rally. It's going to come out instantly. See there, Toby hitting it. KSF isn't going to be able to do anything. Finds Marv, but isn't going to be able to do anything else. Slashing away at the ball. Well, that's a lot of damage, but you need to secure the kill to find anything. KSP with a big stick in the back kills off Podoshin. Gesture finally falling down. Fitz has sights, but he's not going to be able to do anything with it. That is what they needed, just a big Nanoblade, and the killing off of Gesture stops him from being a menace. With 10 seconds remaining, they're pushing on to this second point. Are they going to be able to cap? That's the question. Toby is asleep in the back, and the rally is coming out from Rain to make everybody a little bit more hardy. However, there is still a lot more pressure coming out from Gesture, who has mines. He's so close. If he can get these out, it might just be the W, but KSP is going to be able to clean up on the Tracer.
Great mines out there from Dreamer, too. Just put them all over the card as you guys want to try to stall out and walk through this literal minefield, and that is going to be the cleanup. Valiant in the very last fight able to take this point, get an extension on their clock of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Had to use everything.
There's a big stick that counts. Yeah, so you're definitely not... What?
I look magnetized.
He shot put that like he was in the Olympics. That was a ridiculous distance he just covered with that pulse bomb. Wow. I'm surprised that didn't stick onto Toby, to be fair, but that's really what would have been the point.
Might have been going for Toby, but you take those.
We take those. Easy. Gravy now with control of the high ground. He's going to be up here with the brig too, so it's not much Gesture can really do to bowl people off. He's just going to get stunned. I say that as the brig does drop down to the ground. Speaking of dropping down, there are the mines as well onto that payload. Isn't going to prove too much of a distraction for Seoul. Yeah, Prophet takes out Lastro as well. Self-destruct launched it into the air. There's going to be another traded kill, so 1 DPS versus 1 DPS at this point as Fitz goes down to the Genji. But Prophet's still proving he's an absolute wizard on this pick. As I say that, cast a curse and he gets taken out. What can I say?
That one's on you, man. I was just gonna sit there and
I thought he was gonna survive and get a 6K. Not my fault. He died. Just play better.
Yeah. KSP's got an armor pack and he's going to happily take this 2v1. Marvel will be escorted back to spawn. Now Seoul's going to try to get back in here. They have made some changes that happened in the previous fight. Fitz is on the McCree. It's a decent point for McCree to try to get a Deadeye going, and especially with the distraction that Gesture can provide, maybe that's a win condition. But speaking of win conditions, Nanoblade's ready.
Nanoblade, there's the rally, staying alive. Oh, he got nade on him as well. No way Toby dying from that. Oh, KSF, a Nanoblade versus a rallying brig with a Byronade on top of it. It's not going to work, unfortunately. Prophet and KSP end up finding kills. KSF now trying to hunt down the back line, but little does he know, they're actually in the main door. Sleep onto Toby, doesn't do all too much, but the rest of the support lineup for Valiant are taking a heavy beating. Lastro is going so low, ends up getting taken out by Prophet. Now that lack of heals are really going to start burning away at the health bars of the Valiants. KSP is going to get out of there rather quickly as Prophet finishes off KSF.
Yeah, it's got to get out of dodge. You hear the ominous music, and that means that we're about to end the map here. Pulse Bomb and Self-Destruct, the best hope for a Valiant team trying to stay on the offense in Dorado. Marvel's going to have a defensive Self-Destruct, and mines are up. That's brutal.
And Self-Destruct too.
Yeah.
There's not really much you can really do here, to be honest. KSP, last-ditch attempt to get his Pulse Bomb eaten, and Prophet ends the round with a melee onto KSP. The Self-Destruct on point did nothing, and that'll be Valiant halted just before second point. Seoul Dynasty fans must be quite happy with themselves at this point, I've got to say. First match of the season, and they are looking as strong as ever.
It's just like Prophet is unchained, man. Like with the dives going in, it just seems like Marvel will get in there and do 50% damage on an Ana. Then Lastro's backing up, thinks he's fine. Now he backs right into Tracer, and Prophet cleans it up. Gesture has been all over the place, staying alive and getting these minefields up really quickly. So this Seoul team is, kind of a term that we would use as like dream team. They just picked up the best available free agents, and we're just gonna put as much talent on this squad as possible. So far, looking pretty good.
Looking pretty fire right now. And that's the power of Brig with the rally Hex. I love seeing the nanoblades, don't we all? But, sad Genji. And you got to think about, like, way back, right, when Genji in the game just first released, or, like a year into the game. Genji was just such... He can be a hard carry, don't get me wrong. He can still be a hard carry. But there are so many mitigating factors now for Genji to deal with. And Genji doesn't really do much when he's not blading, and when he's not even just nano blading as well. You require two heroes to really make him work.
Yeah.
And his brawling potential isn't as good as something like a Doomfist, isn't good as something like a Tracer. He's still going to work well with dive tanks and with things to almost peel for him in the moment. But even Nanoblade at this point in time isn't as effective as it used to be. Oh my!
What filth! Absolute filth. And that's the only reason they ran that. Now I think they're going to switch heroes, yeah. The only reason they did that is try to clear off Rooftop, because they controlled Rooftop entirely on their defense. The entire time, they owned the roofs. And they decide that they're not going to let the defenders on the other team do that. It's a nice shield. Take a look at this wall.
Oh, that's so horrible. I'd be so tilted if I was KSF right now. My Tracer ain't that good. And I have this weird habit of pulse bombing and then dashing forward, so I just dash through the person and pulse bomb the ground.
You're not a real Tracer until you die from Junkrat's passive.
Oh, I died to that as Zen, mate. Like, it feels pretty bad as a Zen, I'll tell you that. You haven't got no mobility.
Well, Ksev's back in this fight now, and the cart has stalled at this archway, but that's why you want to take those early fights, is because you could always fight at the archway again when you lose it. And now it seems to be where their first fight is coming from.
KSP's going to have a really big advantage here, this big sight line. Like I said before, it's definitely his best hero in the Widowmaker. All he does is aim train. Like, he's an absolute crazy man. Right. That'll be a quick cleanup for the tanks. Valiant, KSF as well. Almost got one clip there by this set. Got to be a little bit more careful than that. Does hit the recall in time though, and has got the pulse bomb to boot as well. But you are running into Toby. And he is going to have the immortality field for whoever does get pulse bombs.
The issue is they don't really have anything to check KSP's Widow, and this is a great Widow point. He's playing Courtyard right now on the ground, but even if they could push back, there's like a great sniper spot on the perch, and they don't have dive tanks, and they don't really have a mobile DPS to deal with it. So
that was the perfect pick. Pulse bomb coming in there. Big stick, went a little bit wide. KSF doesn't find anything, and with one healer down, Lastro's going to take a whole age to come back. Gives them legs, make him move faster, please. He's at 90% as well from the trance, but Seoul Dynasty are now just running through Valiant. There's not much they can do. Now, Lastro being picked off, he's not only not going to be able to get trance in time to actually save this point, he's only just got it now, and you only had Rain to really heal you up. And there's so many people dashing around the place. Those armor packs have to be used so conservatively.
Right, and Valiant's going to do the right thing and notice that that fight is over, and they're just going to try to take some positioning on the high ground here. It's going to take a lot of those heroes that don't have mobility.
Oh, he doesn't know. Oh, he doesn't know. He must know. Oh, no, okay. He's gone. Okay. I thought KSF was just going to stay there and one clip fits, but I got a little bit too ahead of myself. We're good. Dragon Strike available for Fitz now. Clearing off the high ground, but I think it's going to be his main aim. And look at the rest of ults they've got, Hex. 2 damage boosting ultimates to boot as well. Halt into the Dragon. Instant Transcendence, though, but still manages to kill off Rain. KSF does trade it up and manages to kill off Fitz, but is it actually going to be enough at the end of it all? Jester lays down the supercharger, a lot of additional incoming damage now for the Dynasty. McGravy lifting everybody up in the sky as KSP takes one head off, but Marvel repays it in kind, killing off the Widow, and Toby killing off KSF. Potential final fight territory now for Valiant, as Seoul have ults to boot coming into this next fight.
Yeah, it's going to be 3x on the card. They're going to have Blizzard and the Flux to go with each other to try to close out this map. But they were able to take the high ground. That Dragon ended up getting a sleeping Brigida. I don't think she was slept. She must have been stunned. But the Brigida, that's why Rain went down early, is I think he got rocked in the face. He was just laying down. There was a wall behind him. Then he got dragoned. It was a bad day to be a Brigida there. And then with no control of the high ground, the dueling on the bottom just happened. The Graviton Flux came in from, I believe it was McGravy at that point in time. but there was a really nice transcendence from Badoshan. It seems like everything that the Valiant are trying to do, Seoul is able to react to it very quickly. We do have a pause.
Yeah, not
at
only
the game,
reacting
by the
to
way.
it quickly, you are also almost saving ults. They react in such a perfect way that, hey, Valiant's just expended everything. Great, fantastic. Now what do we have going into this last fight? Well, we have Blizzard. That's almost a game winner right there.
Yeah, and I think like the Widow is really good when you're on a stable defense, when you're able to hold a point and you're holding and you know where the fight is going to happen. This second point opens up a lot, and Seoul is kind of just rolling over. It's not really a hero that's going to bring you back in a fight. It's going to win fights before it's over by getting picks. But if you lose 2 already, the Widow is not generally going to get a ton done because everyone's just pushing everyone on the ground, and a Widow alone it just doesn't matter. It's just not enough.
Yeah, you're hoping for a miracle from KSP there. We do apologize, of course, for the pause. There's a couple of internet issues with the players, but we should be able to get that sorted rather fast. Do not worry, we'll be back in the game very shortly. Now,
Yeah, we're way ahead of schedule anyway. The first match went super quick. This one is going pretty quick, so let's just take this time and enjoy the fact that the Overwatch League is back in 2020. We're going to take some time to think about that while we send a break. We'll see you on the other side of it.
And we are back, getting straight into the game. Valiant and Seoul, if you've only just joined us, Seoul, they're looking pretty fire hegs. They've got, what, 3 minutes to cover 30 meters, and they have Blizzard, and they have the Flux. Looking mighty clean from them thus far, and KSF activating the sights, can see where everybody is, but they're going to need a lot more than that.
Supercharger goes down, but it's walled off immediately, so not going to get a ton of value from it. They have a rally and a dream right now for LA.
What was that Flux? Who did that hit? That just hit McGravy? I mean, okay. Marvel does find himself on the high ground. Prophet now trying to do the same. Spots the widow. Oh no. Oh, Venom Mind. Oh, just going to wall it off to make sure he can't get headshot. And that will be a big rotation, in fact, through to the double doors. Giving up a whole lot of room here, but they've actually killed KSP and KSF. Oh, Podoshin and Gesture have just opened this game wide up. Now Valiant are in trouble. They're going to have to run past, of course, the rest of Seoul. Tanks are alone on the point. McGraving doing his best to try and keep the tanks alive using that Matrix, but Prophet just running at them. There's the Blizzard after the D-Mech. Dreamer goes down. Nothing the Baby Diva can do. That should just be it. Seoul, they're going to go 2-0 up in this series. Just pure domination from them so far. And Prophet just out of his mind deadlifting the team.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even really need that much of a deadlift, though. I mean, the confusing thing there is Seoul goes for this enormous flank around, and I kind of understand why LA is chasing them through this corridor, because if a team wants to do something, your first instinct is to not let them do that. But by chasing them through the corridor, by trying to go for these picks by people, they lost 2 in that very last fight, and then it was just over from that. Prophet then just sits on the Mei and 1v2s both tanks, because, well, Mei, and that's it. That's Seoul up 2-0 very quickly. It seems like we haven't even got out of the gates yet here.
Yeah, we've still potentially got more maps to come, but Seoul want to round this out with a clean 3-0. I am sure their fans want the same. We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Rank up with America's first and only nationwide 5G network. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury. With HyperX Fury Memory.
Welcome back, everybody. Apologies for the slightly longer break. Of course, we are all doing this from our homes, and it is a little bit tough. So we had to take a small extended break there to get a couple of additional tech problems sorted, but the crew is hard at work, and it does look like we are getting back into game rather shortly.
Yeah, it should be just a moment there. And it's not just us working from home. The IT department, the observers, like the producers. Our producer did the games last night at 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. our time, and now is doing them today. So it got a little bit of sleep. We're doing our best here. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Something to keep you sane during these insane times. And, you know, that's enough of that. Let's just go play some Eichenwald right now. Seoul Dynasty up 2-0 on the Los Angeles Valiant. And I think we got a little profit stats during our break. And, what was it, 14 final blows, 2 deaths? Maybe something like that. I think he's pretty good.
Crazy.
He's pretty good Tracer, yeah. That was sort of his numbers just on Tracer. And, yeah.
Yeah, he's okay. He's pretty good. He just solo carries, but, like, he's okay.
Yeah, the game's in a good spot when you're able to play Tracer. That's all I've always felt. I've always been a Tracer main. Sometimes, you know, dabble a little bit of Pharah here and there, but Tracer's always been my girl. There's a reason she's the logo.
Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, I was hoping we'd see a little bit of Pharah there, but it's going to be Fitz changing over to the Kree instead on the defense. Double shield!
Yeah.
With Profit on the Mei. No, not too much of a shock.
So essentially triple shields. You know, that's why people make the joke that Mei is half a tank. Well, you know, with her health pool and her sustain and her ability to lock areas down, and especially the map editing ability that is the Ice Wall. Although Ice Wall you can break down a little bit easier now, so they're trying to adjust the power creep that has happened in Mei.
Yeah, and you can fit tanks through one column now instead of breaking two, which was the most frustrating thing in the world. There we go. We've got KSP coming out on the Widow. Going to try for a jump shot. Doesn't quite find anybody. And, oh,
finds a
guess who found somebody though? Badosin. Nice little anti-nade.
That's really funny. That's launched from like the beginning of the match. He just ends up getting a little bit of charge for it. Not the biggest deal, but cute play.
Another one. That's a 3-man barrier grenade. That's a free 20 charge there. No one's taken any damage on the side of Seoul just yet. That's all from anti-nades. And an anti-nade used rather defensively there by Lastro. Didn't want someone getting blown up as soon as they went through the arch. And a short commute now to the point, but an even longer one if Profit puts up a wall.
I see Badoshin's just playing really safe in the backline here. So far, he's been the biggest surprise to me on this Seoul team. That hurts.
Is the worst pick imaginable if you are Seoul. KSP takes down 2, takes down the most important one as well, being Profit. Just attempting to duel out of Fitz there, but Fitz had a little bit of a better of him for the time being until Rain booped him off the edge of the map. That's what you want to see from your sharpshooter. KSP finds 2 and the point instantly capped. Nice little time bank as well.
Yeah, you can't lose your Mei there. The entire composition depends on people coming in, getting cut in half, and then letting people clean up. To lose your Mei there is pretty much over right away. KSF trying to punch his counterpart off the cliff.
Oh, that's punishing. Yeah, straight into the Orisa. No way you can just clean that one up. Profit goes golden for a second there. I love the soul colors on the skin. They look so good. KSP dicing with death as well. Has to back off the rest of the team. Dreamer went a little bit too far forwards. Because Profit survived there, you cannot fight in the castle full stop. As you can see, Profit now playing really aggro as KSP steps up a little bit too close to Marvel. Ends up getting taken out by the Mei. And that will be once again Seoul resuming control.
How are you doing up here? It's just been a very sloppy disengage from the Valiants. I like the aggression early on of going in, but then when it started to all go bad, you've got people milling around doorways. I'm not even sure where this Zarya finally got out. Yeah, it finally gets out, but that should have been called for a reset a while ago, and it's just a very poor disengage. Banking ults, though, is the Valiant.
Yeah, that's what everyone needs to do. Especially coming up against Profit, who has the Blizzard. Perfect time to use it in this small choke. Lasher has the Nano to potentially save somebody if that person does get... Oh, no, straight onto the Duke. Straight into the back. No way you can survive that, but unless you, like... unless you somehow surf your way away from KSF. Okay, he still survives. Toby with a beautiful, beautiful lamp to keep him alive. Yeah. And what happened there, in fact, was KSF actually uppercutted, but because he uppercutted onto a curved surface, you actually... your momentum gets kind of messed up, and you end up following that curved surface around. So that's why Badosin was able to kind of skirt his way back, and KSF ended way further back than he wanted to try and get that final blow with the rocket, with the fish shotgun. Sorry, Graviton Surge on the sidelines. There's the space jam straight on top of the lamp once again. Toby coming up clutch. Marvel does end up getting taken down, but a Deadeye from the sky takes down Rain, but KSP was there to meet the enemy McCree. Fitz ends up falling, and McGravy picking up another kill. Almost a perfect lamp once again from Toby, but the rest of the team unfortunately end up going down.
Yeah, KSP is going to light up the kill feed there, but everyone else was very, very low. It was a really interesting solo grab onto Marvel. He just caught someone isolated, and at this level of play, a single kill can win you fights, so you just take the isolation, and it was actually really impressive. Gesture almost saved Marvel during that grab, but eventually all the pieces fall, and then both tanks fell. When both tanks fall and the other team's got shields up, you're just waiting to die, really.
That's it. You're just literally waiting to die. What a horrible prospect, having no shields in front of you. Curtis being slowly moved by Lastro onto the side. The rest of the team are up on high ground. Rally coming out by Rain. Now, KSP can just sit up on the sky. That's a beautiful hold. Can he find anything from the back? Yes, he can. Marvel gets launched up in the air with a beautiful uppercut from KSF, and Nano, a flashbang straight into the Doom, but he's Nano, so it doesn't matter. That's going to be a seismic slam straight on Toby's head. A Transcendence from Badosin to get him out of there. That's what you call Sideshow Transcendence, but KSF still picking up kills, and KSP finally finishes the kill onto Prophet as they manage to cap the point.
Prophet almost came back into that one, almost had himself just a solo carry, got 2 kills, but that was just about it. That's weird. Marvel just is getting bullied. It seems like he is the target of KSF and everybody's attention here. They've gone after him. He's been first dead in some of these early fights. Valiant showing signs of life. Ultimate's online now for Seoul, though. Flux is going to come out right away.
Oh, big Flux. That's what you want to see. That high noon as well. The shield breaks. So does McGravy's skull, as that bullet entered it and exited it rather fast. Another kill onto KSF, and that should be Seoul. Just cleaning up the rest of the kills. If you can get a flashbang, in fact, if you flashbang people when they've jumped over, you still get credit for the kill. That's always quite nice, but Bits wasn't in a position to do so.
Well, defense for Seoul has stabilized here with the cost of every ultimate that they had in their bank. The jar is kind of barren for Los Angeles, but they can get the Space Jam. They Graviton Surge and Meteor Strike together. Those are the ones about to come online. And Seoul just has to hope for pickoffs here. Almost gets one early.
That damage was crazy. Dreamer's health bar almost instantly depleted. McGravy's shield as well. You saw it like he shielded when he came out and instantly died. You're like, whoa, let's play a little bit more passive. Speaking of passive, it's exactly what Prophet wants to do right now. He's 2% away. He just needs a little bit of extra ult charge and he'll have the ult online. Speaking of that, he's got it. There's the Blizzard. Nano onto the Doomfish yet again. Doesn't really find too much, and the Blizzard on the rest of the team. No Lucio because he is taken out of the hero pool. Does mean he can't speed away from the Blizzard. And that is all said and done. A couple of ults still available for the side of the Valiant, but Seoul holding on for the time being with 1 minute and 50 remaining.
Valiant have been banking this up, but now is the time to go. You're waiting on McGravy's go call. He's going to try to find a target and isolate it. It's up top. Sneaky Cowboy. Spurs aren't jingling, and he's got Deadeye. Going to try to Deadeye behind them.
Oh, they must know.
They check. Once checked.
Oh, no one knows! Oh, they don't know! Is he just going to go for the flashbang? I mean, you can at this point. Yeah, double headshot straight onto KSP. No ultimate needed. Oh, light in the kill feed. A beautiful color of gold. That will be another team kill for the Dynasty. And still Fitz holds on to his Deadeye, but the ruse,
dude,
unfortunately, can't really hang up on the up on the top anymore. They know they're going to check it.
Yeah, but look at all of these ult charges for LA because they just switched all of their heroes, and this is what came out on the front side of things. There was a supercharger keeping everybody distracted.
He gave him a pedestal to just own people. He's like, lift him up. Well, thanks. I'll just now own people from up here. Left click and a couple of rocks. Easy does it. Nice pick up onto KSF already. Yeah. Toby didn't even have ultimate up for that one. That was a Discord orb, I can imagine. A couple extra shots. Just like that. And like you said, because they've changed up, they're going to have to re-go again with their ult banks, and they're just running into Seoul with a whole lot of their own.
And with only 30 seconds left, what is even reasonable that they can get to? A supercharger, maybe? You just have to rally and hope and swing and flail, but Marvel's going to have a defensive answer to this in the Flux.
And they have the Transcendence, of course, as well. There's the Flux. Oh, everybody sent up in the skies, and Fitz with the 2-piece. Deadeye finds him, and that should be it. 10 seconds remain, and Seoul domination. Just such an aggressive hold up against the walls of the Eichenwald Castle. No one's going to be able to touch. I think OT's just going to disappear. Transcendence being used at the very end. No one falling. Dreamer couldn't even get his supercharger off. And what a fantastic start to the season.
Yeah.
Seoul Dynasty just looking so clean.
We're going to need a good name for Gravitic Flux into Deadeye. I've got a couple that come to mind, but none that I'm comfortable saying on broadcast. So you can hit us on Twitter. Look, there's a lot of terms that are very close to other terms in that phrase. So the highest of noons is what first comes to mind, but I'm sure other people.
No, that's good. I like that. The highest.
Well, I give it up to the social media world to give us suggestions here. But yeah, because Seoul did that a lot. Seoul hit that combo about 3 times there on the defense, and it's because Marvel was so aggressive and getting a lot of damage done on that Sigma. It seemed like they had Gravitic Flux more often than they didn't. And obviously Fitz was hitting shots and getting the Deadeye going, so that combo is brutal. Launch them all above shields if there are even any shields on the ground, and then Deadeye just does the rest.
Yeah, because it's not like Ryan, where if Ryan gets picked up, he can hold shield. Orisa gets picked up, it's like, well, I can put a shield down, but as soon as it hits the ground, then it deploys. Like, I can't get one in the air. You are hoping for your Sigma or maybe your Zarya to like bubble them off, but like that's not going to happen the majority of the time. It's just such a punishing combo when it's the Orisa getting dragged up. There's not really much you can do. You can go golden, like sink back, or the biggest thing you can do is try and stun this Sigma, but you're so far out of range, and he's in the sky, bouncing around the pillars. There's no way you're going to be able to get it off. Just Marvel just putting an absolute showcase of what he can do on the Sigma. Nice little headshot there onto the Orisa. Doesn't really do all too much. Just going to be a swap up now onto the Kree instead.
Just trying to get something going there. You're okay giving away the free healer charge to LA there. LA not out of this one yet. They still have a chance to win this map.
So that's a big fire grenade coming out from Lastro, but Immortality Field doing its work, at least for the time. As soon as that dies, KSB and KSF have a little bit of a field day. On the top row didn't quite find the Kree, but he should be not long for this world. There you go, Fitz ends up going down. Nice little start, but that's the biggest counter to the Bio Grenade actually, is the Immortality Field, but it's so easy to focus, which is it's going to be the big problem. Nice little hold to start off with.
Yeah, definitely very different compositions, especially when it comes to the support line here. I do like how the meta has just brought out team styles and their preferences in a lot of these matchups. Not everyone running the same thing. It's good to see.
Immortality Field has fallen. Another beautiful Bio Grenade in the back, but can they follow up? I don't think so. Prophet and Badosin to kill off McGravy and Dreamer. Both tanks dead now for Valiant. As Prophet can have a field day at this point. He can just do whatever he wants, apart from match up against the Doomfist. Does bait out the punch, and there's the rest of it. It's finishing off too. Both DPS now dead. Only the supports left. Should be a rather quick and clean cap for Seoul. Did take them 2 fights. They have a little less time than the Valiant did, but the point has been capped, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, we didn't really get to see Fitz shine that much last year, but I'd heard rumors of just how good he is, and so far this McCree has been on point. It's not even just hitting the mechanical shots, which a lot of people do. His timings are really good, and the flashbangs seem to be like magical. He's hitting them around corners, and knows how that mechanic works perfectly. Seems like everybody's getting stunned and cleaned up whenever Fitz is around.
Oh, Nano Doom. This is a disgusting place for KSF to be, but he gets frozen and Toby kills him. Okay, well, unlucky. Lastro's going to go down as well. That is just actually unfortunate. Trying to set the Doom up for success. Toby as well put down his ultimate straight in front of him too. It's like you're dead. Like there's actually nothing you can do. Stop playing Overwatch. You're going to die. And now Badosin has ult. Prophet has ult. Seoul Dynasty looking good. It's going to be up to McGravy here. He's got the grab. They've got the high noon as well, and the rally to maybe see them through the oncoming aggression.
Right away, both of them.
Well, that's it. Well, wrap it up, boys. Wrap it up. Back to spawn. We're going to go again. May existed for a little bit, so she has Blizzard. Marvel takes 3 kills for himself, and this should be a quick cap here for Seoul.
Marvel just won the 1v1 against the Doomfist. He came up, he hit abilities, and he's got enough damage done. I say, like, the holdovers from last year's Seoul team look really good this year.
Oh, that is a beautiful spot to put the Supercharger as well. So hard to actually take down. Here comes Dreamer back on the ball, but he's going to get melted by the rest of the team. That Supercharger doing its work, doing its due diligence as Gesture kills off the backline. KSP gone. And only a few meters now remains. 25 to be precise for Seoul to find a 3-0. There goes the supports. They thought they could hide. They can't run that quick. No Lucio. A few more meters and it's going to be done. They're going to have to touch, but they got no support. They got no healing to come up. I mean, they've got KSP's ult. He's going to have to unleash the Deadeye, but they're going to get walled off. Seoul Dynasty, just like that, steamroll through the Valiant and find a perfect game to start them off this season.
You gotta be happy if you're wearing the gold tiger on your clothes right now. The Seoul Dynasty looked really good. I really like that very last push, to be honest, because they emptied the cupboard trying to get second point. They used everything. They used everything immediately, which was great. They used Flux, they used Blizzard, all came in, but then they had nothing left. So that's why you see Prophet push as far forward as he does. They get gift wrapped 2 supports, another symptom of LA not quite retreating clean enough in these lost fights. But they didn't have anything to push forward with in Seoul, so they just made sure that there wasn't going to be another fight. You get the map editor up there, he gets some kills in, and that's it. Seoul looking fresh and clean.
Oh yes, they are, and I gotta say, Marvel and Fitz just doing such a good job of actually setting that highest of noon up as well. Like I said before, the Orisa's useless in the sky because she can't deploy shield right in front of her face, and Marvel just being such a menace. He's getting these fluxes just up so fast, and that's just a testament to how much damage he's doing on the pick as well.
Yeah.
If you're doing damage to Sigma, you're just putting so much strain on the support line because of the AoE splash damage he does with his just left click.
I think just watching some of the games last night and then even our earlier match today, I think that Sigma really has a good spot in this meta because you can play it so many different styles. So I play with the team. You saw Nevix playing it like a flanker earlier, and that put a lot of stress on the Boston defense. I think Sigma's kit overall gels really well with a lot of different playstyles. We've seen him with Orisa, we've seen him with other compositions. So I'm really looking forward to this Sigma play. He doesn't feel quite as broken and oppressive as he used to, but there's still room for high skill ceiling players to pick him up and just put out a ton of damage.
Yeah, the Flux is just such a crazy ultimate as well. Having a % damage on your ult is actually insane.
It's the
just
only one in the
ruins
game.
the tanks.
It's the only one.
Doesn't look like we got a player of the match though, Hex. Who is it going to be? Of course it is going to be Prophet. What a surprise that's going to be. He just carried Dorado. I actually checked Dorado real quick in between the break just to find some stats, and Backpack Matt put up a stat, and he did the majority of damage, the majority of the final blows for Seoul on Dorado, and who better to really give it to?
Not surprising. What a great pickup this Seoul team. While London went an entirely different direction, that meant there was a lot of talent out there from that London team. Season 1 champion, London Spitfire. Prophet, of course, being the linchpin of that squad. Good for Seoul, but I do want to mention, like, the guys that Seoul kept looked really good today as well. Marvel and Fitz, who were new additions last year, now holdovers from the previous Seoul. It looked really solid. I didn't see any weakness in this team at all. You got Padoshin over here. We didn't even talk about Gesture, really. Like, this team is kind of stacked on paper. They just beat their only opponent of the year, and they did so in dominant fashion.
Speaking of stacked lineups, we got Shock going up against the Gladiators after the break. I am so looking forward to Shock. They've got so many new players on their roster. We've got Ans as well coming in on DPS. Architect can play literally any role apparently, so we'll have to wait and see if he's starting in the roster as well.
You gotta tease it. You gotta tease it. Just guys, you gotta wait till you see the San Francisco Shock roster. But you have to stick around for a break. We'll see you on the other side.